provide to the jury.
Okay? Ben?
Judge, we object to the transcript. It's not an official transcript, first of all. Second of all, it goes to the 911 tape that we objected to vehemently and had several hours hearing on, which we already did a motion feeling that it became more a feature of the opening statement than it should have. We don't want any particular evidence to be highlighted more than the other evidence by this jury. An actual transcript, we are obviously going to hear the evidence and they can take notes, but giving them a transcript to highlight an ancillary incident, not even the crime charge, is prejudicial and we object.
Okay, and it's the 911 tape?
Yes.
All right, I will indicate that the 911 tape can be played because it's already been ruled to be admissible, but I'm not going to let them have a transcript. They'll have to, I mean, it's going to be an evidence. I'll give them something to play it back over and over if they need to review it, because the problem is if I give them a transcript now, it's not evidence. The first question is going to be, can we have that transcript again? Because that's what they always do. So I'll just give them the audio, remind them it's a piece of evidence that will go back to the jury room. So if they missed anything, they'll have it reviewed as much as they want. All right? Anything else? Do you want to mark it as stage 1?
Yes.
Okay. Bring the jury back in if they're ready. Are they going to knock when they're ready? Okay.
How do I turn this on? Yeah.
The on button.
They're on. Someone has to actually call me.
All right, jury's coming in.
Ready for the jury, Your Honor?
Come on in.
Jury enters hearing the court. All jurors are present, seated, Your Honor.
All right. Defense, do you wish to make an opening statement at this time?
Your Honor, the defense is reserving giving an opening statement until we put on our case, if we put on our case, Your Honor.
Okay, no problem. State, are you ready to call your first witness?
State was called Dustin Brooks.
All right, Dustin. Good morning, Deputy. How are you?
Morning, Your Honor.
If you can
Fine,
step,
how are you?
Great. Step right there and stop right there, and I'm going to have you sworn by my clerk.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, please step around, have a seat in the witness stand, and speak in a loud and clear voice for me.
Yes, Your Honor.
State, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Defense. Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Deputy Dustin Brooks with the Pasco County Sheriff's Office.
And Deputy Brooks, I want to take you back to August of 2014. What was your job at that time?
At the time, I was an emergency communications officer for the Pasco Emergency Communications Division.
And what does that job entail?
911 call taking, admin call taking, but primarily the taking of 911 calls.
And On the morning of August 28, 2014, 6:30 in the morning, were you working at that time?
Yes, sir.
At about 6:07 in the morning, did you receive a 911 call that you handled?
Yes, I did.
Judge may approach the witness.
You may.
Deputy Brooks, I'm showing you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 1 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
That is a recording of the 911 tape from that morning.
And on it, and you had an opportunity to listen to it,
Yes, sir.
and it is, you hear your voice on it,
I do.
and there's a female that you're speaking to.
Correct.
Now, her demeanor, how would you describe it on the call?
Frantic.
In an excited state?
Yes, sir.
And as a 911 dispatcher at that time, are there questions that you ask her?
Yes, there are.
And is the purpose of those questions in order to respond to an emergency situation?
Yes, it is.
Judge, at this time, State would like to move State's Exhibit 1 for identification into evidence.
Ben?
City objections before Judge.
All right, based on my previous ruling, it'll be admitted as States 1.
Judge, permission to publish?
You may. Ladies and gentlemen, that is now admitted into evidence. They're going to publish it, i.e. play it for you now. However, it will go back with you into the jury room, and I will give you a computer that you can play it on in the jury room. So I won't make you come back out here and hear it. You'll have it back there if you want to listen to it. While you're deliberating, you will have it for yourself, okay? State, you may proceed with publication.
Thank you, Judge.
On Thursday, August 28, 2014, at 6:08 a.m., with a GMT offset of negative 240 minutes, agent ID is extension 629.
Massachusetts County 911, what is your emergency?
7119 Hatteras Drive.
Spell the street name for me, please.
Please, just tease me that. You know what?
Ma'am, can you spell the street name for me, please?
Hatteras Drive, Hudson, Florida.
Okay, and it's 7119?
7119.
Ma'am, it's going to be okay, 7119? Okay, what is your name?
Ian Brown.
What is it? What is your first name?
Ian Brown, like the color.
Okay, Megan, I'm not finding a 7119 Hatteras Drive. That's in Hudson? Is it 77? Megan, you gotta focus with me, man. Is it 7719?
No, it's 70. Oh, hold on a second.
No, it's not.
7719.
Okay, tell me exactly what
We
happened.
just moved here.
Tell me exactly what happened, Megan.
My son's dad, I just came home, and my son's dad put a knife to my throat, and he cut my hand, and I'm like bleeding everywhere, and my son's freaking out. I really don't want to do this in front of him, but he just put a knife to my throat.
Where is he at?
He took off.
Okay, when did that occur?
I moved into my son's room, and my son woke up.
Okay, and ma'am, he cut your hand with a knife?
Yes.
All right.
Bleeding everywhere.
Okay, that's the father of your son?
Yes.
It's gonna be okay, ma'am. It's gonna be okay.
I'm sorry to say it. Baby, look at me. You wanna play along your song? Come on.
Okay, so give me a,
It's okay, baby. I'm sorry. Please, just have someone come out here as soon as possible. He literally tried to get away.
okay, you left in a vehicle or on foot?
On foot, he doesn't have a license. Please. He probably has a
Tell me,
joint.
Jamie.
He has a bike and he has no shirt on. He has.
Okay, hold on, Megan, hold on a second with me. Hold on with that. I already got deputy dispatch for you, so give me a time delay, okay, of when that happened, when he cut you with the knife.
He just did it 10 minutes ago.
Okay, 10 minutes.
Yep.
Okay, what is his name?
Adam Matos, Adammatos.
Okay, well, how old is he?
He's 28.
28? Okay.
Almost 29.
Okay, what is he wearing?
He was wearing no shirt when he left. I don't even remember if he was wearing shorts or not. If he is wearing shorts, and pair of shorts, because I won't find pair of shorts.
Okay, which direction did he leave on foot? Like, where's he?
I don't know. To be honest, as soon as he left, I went and got my parents up because he's trying to feel.
Okay, Megan, do you need an ambulance?
I don't know. I just want someone to come here right now. I can see the meat in my finger.
You can see the meat in your finger?
Ooh.
Well, how big was the knife?
It was like a steak knife.
Okay, did he still have it on? Megan, oh, you need to calm down, man. Did he still have the knife on him?
No, it's in my son's room right now. I'm trying to get him out of there, but I don't want to touch it.
Okay, Megan, I need you to answer whether you want me to get an ambulance for you, okay?
I can't leave my son's face.
Okay, it's okay, but do you want an ambulance to respond with the deputies, man, to check out your hand?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine.
I can't even look at it. It's so full of blood.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay, and it's on your hand?
Yes, my thumb, my left hand on my thumb. I'm putting the knife in my kitchen.
Okay. Now, do you know if he has any other weapons on him?
I have no idea.
Okay. Is he on drugs or alcohol?
Alcohol.
Okay. Is he thin, medium, heavy?
He's like 6'2", he's medium built. You would think he was skinny, but he's a little bit meaty.
Okay.
But compared to people here in Hudson, he's medium.
Okay. Think he'll be violent with law enforcement officers?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
It's okay, ma'am. Do you think he'll be violent with law enforcement officers?
Violent?
Yes, ma'am.
I have no idea. This is the first time he's ever actually tried to me. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, Megan. Don't apologize. Do not apologize. It's quite all right. What was going on? You guys had
to come here.
Okay. You guys had some kind of argument, or what was going on?
We haven't been together for weeks now because he doesn't do anything. And I went out with my friends and I came home at like 5 in the morning and he got all pissed off and he was drinking. And he just put a knife right to my throat. I thought he was gonna fucking kill me.
Okay. Is he known to carry weapons?
Because I went out.
Okay.
Oh man, my fingers. Oh man.
Okay, ma'am. I'm gonna ask you some questions, okay? How old are you?
I'm 27.
47.
1787 is my birthday. I just turned 27. Hello? Hello?
I'm still with you, Megan.
Okay, oh my God. Okay, that's all I will do.
Okay, so where are you bleeding from, man?
My left thumb. I'm cleaning it off now.
Your left thumb?
So bad, but I don't know. I just grabbed the knife when he put it in my throat.
Okay, is your bleeding normal for you?
I coagulate pretty well. So it's just very swollen and I can...
Okay, is your breathing normal for you, Megan?
I'm sorry?
Is your breathing normal for you?
No. I had anxiety attack, so To me, this is normal, but to somebody else, no, it's not normal.
Okay, is the blood spurting or pouring out?
No, not anymore. I've been putting pressure on it. I'm thirsty. It's hard fine.
Gotcha. Do you have a bleeding disorder around blood thinners?
No, I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay, man. I'm sending the paramedics helping out. Just gonna let out that exactly what to do next, okay? Okay, do not use a tourniquet, and I'm gonna tell you how to stop the bleeding, okay? Listen carefully to make sure we do it right. If you haven't already, just get a clean, dry cloth or towel and place it right on the wound and press down firmly and don't lift it up just to look, okay? Is the bleeding controlled now?
Yeah, I've been putting pressure on it.
Okay, you have been putting pressure on it. Okay, Megan, well, help is on the way, okay? You don't have anything to eat or drink. It might make you share your cups to the doctor, okay? And don't remove her arm unless absolutely necessary. Just be still and wait for help to arrive. Now, where are you at right now, Megan?
I'm in my room with my son.
Okay, you're in your room. Okay, Megan, well, the deputies are almost there, okay? So, just go ahead and stay inside the house. Can you lock the door?
Yeah, I'm locking my son into my room because that's actually when I moved in here. There's a lock on the outside.
Okay, well,
Ever did.
okay, well, I'm going to stand alone with you until the deputy gets there, okay?
Yeah. He's looking around. He's here, but he's going up the road.
What's that?
I'm looking for him.
Oh, the deputy, okay, yeah, she might not come directly to you.
Sure, I'm like so scared.
It's okay, man, that's why we're here. We're here to help you, so...
I knew he was going to do that. I wasn't even a way out.
Gotcha, understand.
Oh my God, I can't
Megan, do you see the deputy? Is he outside?
wait. Yeah, he's turning around.
Okay.
Oh, man. That's wonderful. Hey, thank God my son spoke up. He's here. He's knocking on my door right now.
Okay, go ahead and answer it then, ma'am. That's the deputy, correct?
Yes, he's here.
Okay, I'll let you go, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Bye.
Deputy Brooks, while you're speaking to Ms. Brown, are you also doing other things on the computer in order to get her help?
Yes, sir.
And is that the point of what your job was at that time, was to take calls like that and to get people help?
Correct.
Okay. And in this particular case, dispatching a Pasco Sheriff's deputy was one of the appropriate responses?
Correct.
No more questions, Judge.
All right, cross-examination?
Please, court, counsel. Deputy Brooks, you're a deputy today, correct?
Correct.
On August 28th of 2014, you were a dispatcher. That's what you testified to, correct?
Yes, sir.
You said earlier on your direct examination that the 911 call was at 6:07 a.m., correct?
Correct.
Isn't it true that that original call was actually a hang-up, and then you followed up by calling the person back?
Yes, sir, that is more accurate.
Okay, so there was a hang-up at 6:07 a.m. You called back twice, correct?
I couldn't tell you the exact amount of times.
Do you recall leaving a voicemail the first time, and the second time there was a pickup?
I do not recall leaving a voicemail.
Okay, you have no idea, is it correct, when any altercation would have occurred between Ms. Brown and Mr. Matos, correct?
I only know what I've been told.
And you don't know if she sought any medical assistance or anything of that nature, do you?
Other than what she told me on the tapes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Steve, any redirect?
No, Judge.
All right, sir, you may step down. Thank you. Is he released from his subpoena?
Yes, Judge.
All right, Spence, any objection to him being released? Mr. McHale, any objection to the deputy being released?
No, Your Honor.
All right, sir, you're released from your subpoena.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just been given my heads up for my 5-minute notice that the band is about to begin. So I do not want to put another witness on the witness stand because I have no idea how loud this is going to be. So I apologize. I would have just kept going if I knew. They said more 11:45, but it's a little earlier than we thought. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you to put your notes away. We'll give you back your cell phone. We'll take lunch now. We'll just take it early. They're not going to play that long, but it's going to be like 20 minutes. So it's a perfect time for lunch. We'll just have you back down in the jury pool room at 12:30. Okay? Again, you're more than welcome to leave or stay here. No talking, tweeting, or blogging about the case. No talking to each other, and we'll see you back downstairs at 12:30. All right? Thank you. You are released for lunch. Before we get back from our lunch,
Nothing stated.
defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, just for the record, Mr. Matos has been here throughout the entire opening statement, all discussions, all lawyers have been present, and we'll be taking a 1-hour lunch break. All right? See y'all back at 12:30. Can you call down and see if my jurors are ready to be brought up? State, are we ready with the next set of witnesses?
We are good.
All right. Are we going to be showing something on the big screen?
Yes, Judge. Next
Okay.
witness.
Are we going to leave it there, or are you wheeling it out a
We'll
little?
wheel it out when we start using it.
Okay, can you show me where you're going to place it? A little bit?
Where would the court prefer? I think they were going to put it right about here.
Okay. Well, I'm just worried if it's this way, it's just as hard for all the jurors. I'm just wondering if we can put it more towards so they can all see it. But that's fine. I'll just tell them if they can't see it.
It'll be facing this direction.
Okay. So it'll be about right where those little
Yes.
things are? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I just know that the offense usually likes to readjust themselves. I'm just trying to make sure we don't have like 100 people in the corner.
Would you mind calling IT?
Yes.
Thank you.
right, jury coming in. And we got audio for the moment. Thank you. We moved the boxes over here a little bit, so, all right, thanks.
All jurors present, seated or not?
Thank you. Is everybody able to get lunch? Yes?
Yes.
And follow my instructions? Yes. All right, excellent. Unstate, call your next witness.
State would call Frederick Heidgerken.
Hi, Jerkin.
Correct.
Okay. Good morning, sir. If I can have you step to this podium right here, and then once you stop there, raise your right hand, be sworn by my clerk.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're going to have you step up into this chair right here in the witness stand and speak in a loud and clear voice for me, okay? Thank you. State, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Defense counsel, can you please turn and introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, my name is Frederick Heidgerken.
And could you please spell your last name for the court reporter?
Yes, sir. Heidgerken.
And Mr. Heidgerken, I want to take you back to August of 2014.
I was a patrol deputy with the Pasco County Sheriff's Office.
And can you tell the jury what were your duties as a patrol deputy?
I responded to calls for service, various nature calls for service. I wore a full uniform and had a fully marked patrol vehicle.
Back on August 28th, 2014, in the morning hours, between 6 and 6:30 in the morning, were you on duty at that time?
Yes, sir, I was.
And did you have occasion at around 6:10, 6:15 in the morning to respond to 7719 Hatteras Drive?
Yes, sir.
And can you describe for the jury when you got there kind of what the residence looks like, basically?
The residence is on the corner of Hatteras and Old Dixie Highway, and it faces to the south. When I pulled to the residence, I parked in front of the residence, and it's a two-story building with garages on both sides and a front entryway that leads up to the residence front doors.
Okay, and did you go up those stairs and knock on the front door?
Yes, sir, I did.
And prior to making contact with people at a residence like this, do you have information that is gathered by the 911 dispatcher?
Yes, sir.
Do you have basic information about either what to expect or what the call may be about?
Yes, sir.
And is that information important to you to know how to appropriately respond to a potentially emergency situation?
Yes, sir, that information is crucial.
And in this particular call, you had familiarized yourself with some of that information?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you got up to the door, who answered the door?
A female who identified as Megan Brown answered the front door.
And Megan Brown, female about 27 years old?
Yes, sir.
And how was her demeanor when she answered the door?
She was frightened. She was shooken up when she first came to the door.
Okay. And as part of your job, do you conduct investigations
Yes, sir.
into potential crimes or circumstances?
Yes, sir.
And did you conduct an investigation at 7719 Hatteras Drive?
Yes, sir. That morning I did.
Did you speak with Megan Brown?
Yes, sir.
And did she speak with you?
Yes.
She cooperated with you?
Yes, sir.
Did you notice any injuries to Megan Brown?
Yes. After arriving on scene, she did advise she had an injury to her left thumb.
Okay, and did you see that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you photograph it?
Yes, sir.
Now, while you were there, did you have occasion to be in the living room area just inside the front door?
Yes.
And did you notice that there was an entertainment center in that living room?
Yes, sir.
Was there a television set in that entertainment center?
Yes, sir.
Now, aside from Megan Brown, when you're there, it's 6:15-ish in the morning, were there any other people that you observed in the residence during that contact?
At that time in the morning, I observed her son, and then I also spoke with her mother, Margaret.
Okay, and her son is approximately 4-year-old boy?
Yes, at that time, yes, sir.
Okay. And did you have occasion to go into a little boy's room?
Yes, sir, I did.
And could you tell it was a little boy's room based on the toys?
Yes.
Things? And was that part of your investigation to document that?
Yes, sir, it was.
Did you take photographs in that room?
Yes, sir, I did.
While there, did you also have occasion to observe the room across the hall from that, which would be the southeast bedroom, Megan's bedroom?
Yes, when I walked in, there was a hallway, and there was 2 rooms on both sides. I looked into the room behind me as I walked into the boys' room, and I looked into that, be the southmost bedroom on that side of the house.
Was there any type of bed in that room when you looked in there?
Yes, when I did walk in, when I looked to the right, I remember looking down and seeing a bed on the floor.
Like a mattress?
A mattress, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, based on the allegations, did you determine whether or not Adam Matos was present at that residence?
Yes, during my investigation, Megan Brown advised that he was there the morning of.
Yeah, but at the time you were present?
At the time I was present? No, he was not there when I was there present
Okay.
at that time.
Were you interested in locating Adam Matos?
Yes, sir, I was.
And did you try and do that?
Yes, sir.
And actually, how long do you think you were at 7719 Hatteras Drive? Or do you know exactly how long you were
I was there
the
for,
first time?
from when I arrived until when I cleared the call, it was approximately maybe a few minutes less than an hour and a half.
Okay. So approximately 7:45-ish, 7:30 is the time that you're leaving Hatteras Drive the first time?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. Now, after you leave Hatteras Drive, did you make some attempts to locate Adam Matos?
Yes, I circulated the general vicinity of the area, up and down Old Dixie Highway, and I drove all the way down to a restaurant called Get Hooked, which is on the corner of Hudson and Old Dixie Highway, and didn't see any signs of the description that was given to me for the suspect.
Okay. Now, is there any particular reason you didn't use canines or anything to try and locate him?
After my arrival on scene, I was advised that he potentially left on a bicycle, and with a time delay, a K9 would not have been useful with how fast one could travel on a bicycle and the time delay we had.
Okay. Now, that same morning, did you have occasion to respond back to 7719 Hatteras Drive?
Yes, sir, I did.
Approximately what time did you respond back to 7719 Hatteras Drive on August 28, 2014?
I responded back to the residence approximately 9:10 a.m.
And what were the circumstances that led you to respond back to that residence?
There was another 911 call placed about the incident that had occurred the morning of, and the caller was under the impression that that incident was reoccurring. When I got to the residence, I made contact with Megan Brown again.
Okay, and when you made contact with Megan Brown, other than the situation that had already happened, was she okay?
Yes.
No new injuries?
No, nothing new.
And while you were there the second time, did you see any people aside from Megan Brown?
Yes, sir.
Who did you see?
Greg Brown, who was standing in the living room behind Megan at the front door.
White male, approximately 52 years of age?
Yes, sir.
Approximately how long were you present that second time?
I believe about 12-15 minutes, somewhere in that time frame.
Okay. And was it your understanding that the caller caller who placed the second 911 call that you responded to at 9:10 was Nicholas Leonard?
Yes, sir.
Judge, may I approach the witness?
Okay?
I've previously shown these photographs to defense counsel.
Okay?
Deputy Heydrich, and I'm showing you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 2 for identification.
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Is that what is that?
That is a picture of the front of the residence.
Residence at 7719 Hatter Drive?
Yes, sir.
Is that a photograph that you took at between 6:10 and approximately 7:45 in the morning of August 28, 2014?
Yes, sir. That's a photograph I took.
And is it a fair and accurate depiction of the way things looked?
Yes, sir.
Judge, at this time, State would like to move State's Exhibit 1 for identification into evidence. Or, I'm sorry, 2. Into
Any
evidence.
objection to 2, the photograph of the front of the resident?
No, Your Honor.
All right? States 2 will come into evidence.
Turning your attention to State's Exhibit 3 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is that?
That would be a picture of the child's room.
Okay. Is it a photograph that you took the morning of August 28, 2014 between about 6:10 and 7:45
Yes, sir.
in the morning?
Yes, I took that picture.
And is it a fair and accurate representation of what you saw?
Yes, sir, it is.
Excuse me. Sorry. Judge, at this time, State would like to move State's Exhibit 3 for identification and evidence.
Any objection of the photograph? I assume you've seen all of
I
these.
have, Judge, no objection to any of the photographs.
Okay, so States 3 will be in as 3.
Showing you State's Exhibit 4 for identification. Do you recognize this?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is this?
It's a close-up picture of the corner of the bedroom.
And is this a fair and accurate depiction of the way it appeared the morning of August 28, 2014?
Yes, sir, it is.
Showing you State's Exhibit 5 for identification.
Are you going to move forward?
I'm going to try to do a little faster.
That's okay.
That's okay, Judge.
Okay.
Showing you State's Exhibit 5 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
It's a picture of blood on top of a container box in the corner of the bedroom.
And this is still the little boy's bedroom.
The little boy's bedroom, yes, sir.
Is this a picture that you took the morning of August 28, 2014
Yes, sir, it is.
during your first response to 7719 Hatters Drive?
That's correct.
Showing you State's Exhibit 6 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is that?
It's a close-up of the previous picture of blood splatter on the container box in the corner of the little boy's bedroom.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of what you observed and documented on August 28, 2014 in the morning during your first visit?
Yes, sir.
Judge, at this time, State would like to move State's Exhibits 4, 5, and 6 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right. States 4, 5, and 6 will come in as evidence.
Turning your attention to State's Exhibit 7 for identification. Do you recognize this?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
That is a picture of Megan Brown.
And is that a photograph that you took the morning of August 28, 2014?
Yes, sir.
Is it a fair and accurate depiction of what you observed?
Yes, sir.
And where is she standing in that photograph?
She's standing at the front entryway of the residence, right in front of the front doors.
Showing you State's Exhibit 8 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
What is that a photograph of?
That's a picture of the cut I observed to Megan Brown's thumb.
Is that a picture that you took the morning of August 28, 2014?
Yes, sir, it is.
Showing you State's Exhibit 9 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
That's a close-up of the cut to Megan Brown's thumb.
Fairly and accurately depict what you observed on the morning of August 28, 2014?
Yes, sir, it is.
Showing you State's Exhibit 10 for identification. You recognize that?
Yes, sir.
And what is that?
That's my business card and the case number next to the cut on Megan Brown's thumb.
It's fair and accurate depiction of what you observed the morning of August 28, 2014.
Yes, sir, it is.
Judge, at this time, State would like to move State's Exhibits 7, 8, 9, and 10 into evidence.
Any
17.
objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right. They'll come in as 7, 8, 9, and 10 into evidence.
Turning your attention to State's Exhibit 11 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
And what is that?
That's a picture of a kitchen knife Megan Brown advised was used during the...
Without going into that,
Okay.
kitchen knife, where did you get it from?
The kitchen.
Okay. And was it lying there on the counter by itself?
Yes, sir.
And you collected it in evidence?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you take a photograph of it?
Yes, sir, I did.
And does this photograph fair and accurately depict the kitchen knife that you collected into evidence?
Yes, sir, it does.
Judge, at this time, State would like to move State's Exhibit 11 for identification into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, State's 11 will come in as 11.
We'll turn your attention to State's Exhibit 12 for identification. Now, this is not a photograph you took,
No, sir.
but do you recognize the area it depicts?
Yes, sir.
And what does it depict?
That would be the living room and the front entryway of the residence.
Is it a fair and accurate depiction of the general layout of that room?
Yes, sir.
And more or less similar to the way that you observed it the morning of August 28, 2014?
Yes, sir. The two couches right there. I remember them being there.
Okay. And turning your attention to State's Exhibit 13 for identification, you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
And what is that?
That's a picture of the bedroom to the south when I walked into the hallway to go to the little boy's room.
And is that the bedroom that we previously discussed you observed there was a mattress in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And aside for the furniture in the room, is it a fair and accurate depiction of the general layout of that room?
Yes, sir.
And to be clear, this is also not a photograph that you took?
No, sir. I did not take that photograph.
Okay. Judge, at this time, State would like to move State's Exhibit 12 and 13 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 12 and 13 will come in and evidence.
And Judge, permission to publish dates 2 through 15 on the big board.
You will, you may publish.
May
Ladies
I
and-
need to step down?
Yes, you may. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is, we got this big TV for you. So, because if not, we only have the little TV, so we got the bigger TV. And so what they're going to do is they're going to pull the TV out a little bit. There's what we call the Elmo, which is right behind you. And they're going to put the pictures up so the witness can talk about the pictures, but you'll be able to see them and then you can talk about them on the TV. So it's easier for you all to see, because if not, it'd be on that little one over there, all right? Sir, you may step down. Just be careful all the wires. Not all the wires into that. That's good.
Okay.
Can all the jurors see the TV now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And the defense lawyers may be moving around a little just so they can see the TV, okay? You want the witness to step up towards the TV?
Yes, Judge. If
Okay.
you give me a moment, the defense counsel wanted to go over all the photographs.
Okay, no problem. Sir, all I'm just going to ask you to do is keep your voice up. You're going to be very close to the jurors, and Mr. Surrey, my court reporter's back here with me, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And sometimes you might be blocked by the TV, so
Yes,
if she doesn't hear you, she'll let you know, okay? State, you may proceed.
Don't touch the screen, because it may do something. But can you describe again, what is the jury looking at?
Yes, this is the front of the residence the morning I was there.
And in particular, what is that in the west garage?
That would be a silver minivan, which is parked in that driveway.
Okay. And that stairwell there, is that the stairwell you're referring to that you have to go up in order to reach the front door?
Correct. I have to walk through that stairwell to reach the front doors.
And behind this tree in this area here, is that another garage?
Yes, sir.
And this window here on that would be the right side of the photograph, is that the southeast bedroom that we had been talking about there being a mattress in?
Yes, sir.
And again, can you explain to the jury what this is?
This would be the child's bedroom. Picture of the doorway, and then looking into the child's bedroom.
There are a couple of pictures to follow regarding a specific corner in the bedroom. Where in the bedroom is that corner?
That corner is going to be in the left corner, right here.
And what are we looking at here?
This would be the left corner, and then this is where the call was in reference to where I was at for the morning, that morning of.
And what are we looking at here?
This is a close-up picture I took of the container boxes with the blood on top and then blood down here also.
And what are we looking at here?
This is a close-up of the blood splatter on top of that container box.
Debbie, you don't get a career in
Oh,
photography.
hold on. I have a juror. Can you not see?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Yeah. No problem. Nice work over there. All right.
What are we looking at here?
That's a picture of Megan Brown.
Now, is this the front door she's standing in front of?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And behind her in the doorway, what do you see down there?
Behind her, I see a gate back here.
More particularly, low to the door in this area. See what I'm looking at? Right next to her shorts?
The dog here?
Yes.
Yes, yep.
Did you notice, were there dogs in the residence?
Yes, sir, there were some small dogs in the residence.
Multiple?
Several, yes.
What are we looking at here?
That's a picture of the cut to Megan Brown's thumb.
And what is this photograph of?
That's a close-up of the cut to Megan Brown's thumb that I took.
I'm sorry, this is State's Exhibit. This is State's 9. State's 9. And State's 10? Correct. What are we looking at there?
This is a close-up of the same injury to her thumb with my business card and my case number.
Okay, and your business card also includes a ruler,
Yes, sir.
and that would be inches?
Yes, sir.
And State's 11? What are we looking at there?
This is a picture of a knife, a kitchen knife.
Is that the knife you collected from the kitchen counter?
Yes, sir.
And what are we looking at here?
This is the picture of the living room.
And as a refresher, this is not a photograph that you took?
No, sir, I did not take this picture.
Now, when you were present in the center right of the photograph, a little bit to the top, you see what this is here?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
It's an entertainment center with a television. Or no, without a television, I'm sorry.
Okay, now when you were present in the residence, the morning of August 28, 2014,
Yes.
was there a television in that entertainment center?
Yes, sir, there was.
And State's 13? Could you remind us what we're looking at here?
Yes, sir. That would be the other bedroom, which is on the south end of the residence.
And that's the bedroom that we referenced in the windows in the first photograph we were looking at?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Now, when you were present in this residence the morning of August 28, 2014, approximately where was the mattress?
When I walked into this area, I remember seeing a mattress down in this area here.
Sort of up against the window, laying, for lack of a better term, head to toe from east to west or west to east?
Yes, sir.
And you can resume your seat.
Thank you, sir.
Go ahead, Mary, just a moment.
Okay.
I don't have any more questions for this witness, Judge.
All right. Vince, would you like them to leave the TV out, or you need a big TV, or we can roll it back?
I don't need TV, Judge, it's too
All right, you
complicated.
can go ahead and roll it back. Thank you, gentlemen. Ready to cross?
Yes, sir.
Can I have just a minute, Judge?
Sure.
I have 2 more questions before we're allowed.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Judge. Deputy Hyder, or I'm sorry, Mr. Hyder.
Yes, sir.
The, when you first made your contact with Megan Brown the first time, at the conclusion of your contact, did you give her anything?
Yes, sir, I did.
What do you provide her with?
My business card, my case number, and a victim rights booklet.
And did you tell her to call you if Adam Matos showed back up?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. No more questions.
Hold on one second. There might be one more. We good?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Vince? Cross?
Good afternoon, Mr. Heidkirk, right?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Sir, so when you left Ms. Brown, you told her if Mr. Matos ever came back to immediately call you up, is that what you're saying?
I advise that part of our protocol is that if we have a suspect, we have them, we advise them to call us if he confirms.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Heidkirk, with regard to this bedroom that you described that we showed the jury in the southeastern part of the house, this is the one where you referenced the mattress, correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Am I I didn't see exactly where you pointed, so am I correct to assume that the mattress was, when looking into the room, on the right-hand side in the back in the corner?
In that area, yes. I remember seeing a mattress on the ground.
All right.
Lane, it'd be west to east.
Just for the record, which number is that?
That's 13.
Okay, so we're at states 13.
So was the mattress up against the curtains, the back window?
I couldn't tell if they was all the way up, but in that general vicinity, yes.
And this is several years ago, right?
Yes, sir.
So is it fair to say you're not 100% sure exactly where the mattress was?
I remember seeing the mattress. I couldn't tell if it was exactly against the wall.
Okay, so it was more closer to the back wall where the window is, correct?
Yes, sir.
And would it be more to the right or to the left of the room or in the middle, as far as you can recall, if you do remember?
To the right of the
To
room.
the right. So fair to say it was more to the right corner looking into the room?
Yes, sir.
And for the record, this door opens in as opposed to out, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Hyder, again, the jury already was published photographs of an injury to Megan Brown. That's looked like a half-inch cut to her thumb, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're the one who photographed those pictures, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And that knife you saw, that was a kitchen knife, correct?
Yes, sir.
A Ginsu knife, to be more accurate, right?
I'm not a knife expert. I don't know.
All right, but Megan Brown appeared intoxicated to you, correct, sir?
She advised that she was out prior that night, and she was out with friends.
But regardless of what she advised, when you observed her, she appeared intoxicated to you, isn't that correct?
She appeared that she had several drinks.
Slurred speech?
I wouldn't say slurred speech, but
You wouldn't say slurred speech?
I would say kind of glassy eyes.
Would you have told Detective Kugel when you reported to him later on, days later, that she had slurred speech?
Objection, Judge, improper impeachment.
Sustain.
Can you repeat the question, please?
I sustain.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
She didn't require any medical treatment, right?
Fire rescue did respond to the residents, but they didn't take her from the residence for her injury.
Did they give her a Band-Aid or something? Do you know what they did?
I'm not exactly sure.
Were there any injuries to her throat?
No, sir.
I can have a moment, Your Honor.
You may.
No further questions.
Any redirect?
No, Judge.
All right, sir, you may step down. Is he released from his subpoena?
Yes, Judge.
All right, sir. Defense, any objection to him being released from his subpoena?
No, Your Honor.
All right, sir, you're free to go.
Thank you, ma'am.
Released from your subpoena. State, call your next witness.
State calls Tammy Dutton.
Good afternoon, ma'am. If you want to step up all the way to the podium right up here. Once you get to the podium, I'll have you stop. You can turn, raise your right hand, be sworn by my clerk.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. All right. You can have a seat in the witness stand, speak in a loud and clear voice for me, okay? State, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Counsel. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
I'm Tammy Dutton,
Will you also spell your first and last name for the court reporter?
TammyDutton,
And Ms. Dutton, where are you employed?
at the 911 records office.
And how long have you worked there?
It'll be 4 years in January.
And what is your job there?
I'm the 911 records technician.
So what does that mean? What are your duties?
When anyone wants a record from a 911 or non-emergency call, they contact me and then I provide the information for them.
So you're able to provide, pull information from the record and provide it to people who are requesting
Correct.
it? And as part of your job duties, are you the custodian of records for 911 calls?
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about how 911 call records are made?
When an incoming call hits our system, it automatically starts recording and it's sent to an available operator.
So whenever the 911 call comes in, it starts recording? Is that
Yes.
accurate? So nobody has to press a button to make it start, it just happens?
No, yes.
And as far as CAD records, can you tell us what those are?
A CAD record is the portion of the record when the operator's on the phone with whoever's calling in, they start entering information like name, address, what's going on, so that when the call hits a specific point, then it goes to the dispatchers to dispatch the appropriate entity to respond.
And these CAD records, are they made at the time the information is entered, they're stored and captured at that point?
Yes,
And all of this is done as part of the regular course of business for the 911 center, correct?
correct.
And the calls that come in, they are all recorded and all recorded as they are made?
All the 911 calls, yes.
Now, let's talk about a series of 911 calls that came into the call center here in Pasco County between August 28th and September 3rd of 2014.
Okay.
So the first call I want to talk to you about happened on August 28th, 2014. And did the call center receive a phone call from area code 727-207-6640 at approximately 6:07 a.m.?
Yes.
What can you tell us about that phone call?
It was originally from Megan Brown at 7719 Hatteras Drive.
And was that a connected phone call?
The first call was connected briefly, and then it was disconnected by the caller.
And when you say briefly, was there a conversation that occurred?
There was no conversation.
Was there background noise that could be heard?
Yes,
But that was the extent of it.
correct.
So when the phone call got disconnected, or in general, when a phone call gets disconnected from 911, what's the process?
The call taker returns the phone call immediately.
And the call taker on that call, do you know who it was?
I believe it was Amanda Smith.
Now, did Amanda Smith return the phone call?
Yes, she did.
And did you know when she returned that phone call?
30 seconds later.
And what happened on that phone call?
She reached the person's voicemail.
And once Ms. Smith called and got the voicemail at 727-207-6640, what did Amanda Smith, the call taker, do at that point?
She disconnected and then tried to call back again.
And that phone call, when she called back, what happened?
She also reached voicemail.
Okay. Now, was there another phone call that came in from 727-207-6640 at approximately 6:11 a.m. of that same morning, August 28th, 2014? Yes. And was that a connected phone call?
Yes, it was.
And is that a phone call where a conversation actually occurred?
Yes.
And the call taker on that call, who was that?
Dustin Brooks.
And that phone call, was it approximately 11 minutes in length?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's move to a little bit later in the day, same day though, August 28th, 2014. At approximately 9:04 a.m., did the call center receive a phone call from area code 727-488-8804?
Yes.
And was that a connected phone call?
Yes.
And what type of phone call was that?
It was a welfare check, citizen assist.
And do you know if that phone call was also about the same incident from the earlier phone call?
It was at the same address by a different person.
Okay. And the caller in that call from the 727-488-8804 number, how did he identify himself?
As Nicholas Leonard.
Now, let's skip ahead a few days. We're going to go to September 3rd, again, 2014. At approximately 1:14 in the afternoon, did the call center receive a phone call from area code 727-863-3057?
Yes.
And who was this phone call from?
Rob Dunleavy?
Is it Dunleavy?
Yes.
Would you mind spelling that for the court reporter?
Dunlabey.
And what was the nature of this phone call?
It was a welfare check.
And who was the welfare check for?
He wanted a welfare check done on Leonard.
Is that Nick Leonard?
Yes.
And that address is at 12721 Woodchuck Way?
Correct.
And the next phone call I want to talk about happened on September 4th, 2014, approximately 9:54 in the morning. Did you receive a phone call, or did the call center rather, receive a phone call from area code 305-731-4705?
Yes.
And who was that phone call from?
Linda Thomas.
And what was the nature of that call?
A welfare check.
And who was that a welfare check for?
She wanted it done on Greg and Margaret Brown and another adult male that lived there.
And we say lived there, where is there?
At the 7719 Hatteras Drive.
Now, as a result of that phone call on September 4th, was law enforcement dispatched?
Yes.
And can you tell from the records what officer was dispatched?
Originally, I don't know the name, but it was assigned to a David Hatfield.
Was there a 1 Eagle 2
Correct.
sent to the call?
Yes.
And is 1 Eagle 2 a sheriff's office unit number?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the August 28th phone calls, the phone call from Megan Brown and the phone call from Nicholas Leonard, was a deputy dispatched as a result of those phone calls?
Yes.
And who was the deputy that was dispatched on both of those calls?
Frederick Heidger. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Heidgergen.
And on the September 3rd phone call, was there a deputy dispatched?
Yes.
And who was that deputy?
Thomas Smith.
Thank you. Let me ask you, same time period, August 28th, let's go to August 28th, 2014, all the way through September 3rd, 2014. Were there any other phone calls made to 911 about 7719 Hatteras Drive?
No.
Were there any other phone calls other than the ones we've discussed during that time period made to the 911 call center about Megan Brown?
No.
Were there any other phone calls made to the call center during that same time period about Nicholas Leonard?
No.
And again, same time period, were there any other phone calls made about Margaret or Greg Brown?
No.
And during that same time window, August 28th, 2014 to September 3rd, 2014, did Adam Matos call the 911 call center at any point?
No.
Objection.
Approach. Hold on, down 10 or 10. One of my best, one of my three. That's quick, very nice. All right,
Let me just clarify that last question. So I was asking about the time period of August 28th, 2014 to September 3rd, 2014. Now, did you go back and review the records in preparation for your testimony today?
Yes.
And as part of your reviewing, did you look to see if you'd received any phone calls from anyone identifying as Adam Matos?
Yes.
And after you went back and reviewed the records, did you locate any phone calls of anyone identifying as Adam Matos?
No.
Now, based on the way the records work, with them being automatically captured at the time, if a phone call from someone saying, "Hi, my name is Adam Matos," had occurred, would that have been captured in the records?
Correct.
Now, the phone number, area code 484-951-2687. Did you perform a similar search for that phone number for the dates of August 28th, 2014 to September 3rd, 2014? Yes. And did you find any records originating from that phone number?
No.
And again, based on the way the records are created at the time, captured and stored, had that phone call been made, would a record of it have been captured and stored?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I have just one moment?
you may.
We have no further questions right now.
Cross.
No questions.
All right, ma'am, thank you very much. State, may she be released from her subpoena?
She may.
Defense, any objection?
No.
All right, ma'am, you're released from your subpoena. Thank you very much for coming. State, call your next witness.
State would call Linda Thomas.
Linda Thomas, please.
Correct.
Good afternoon, Ms. Thomas. If you want to step up to the podium. You want to stop right there, turn towards my clerk, and raise your right hand and be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right? Please come up and have a seat in the witness stand. Speak in a loud and clear voice for me, okay?
I'll do my best.
You will, all the time.
Okay.
All right, state and may proceed.
Can you please turn in and introduce yourself to the jury?
Yes, my name is Linda Thomas.
And Ms. Thomas, are you married?
I am.
Who are you married to?
I'm married to James Thomas, also known as Jim or Jimmy.
Okay. And how long have you been married to Jim Thomas?
About 33 years, more than 33 years.
Okay. Now, Ms. Thomas, did you know Margaret Brown?
Yes.
How did you know Margaret Brown? You need a moment? Good, Ms. Brooke.
You may.
I'm sorry. I'll do the best I can. I knew this would be hard. I'm sorry. She's my stepdaughter. And my best friend. And I've known her since before we married.
Since before you and Jim Thomas married?
Correct.
Okay. Take a deep breath for me. Now, Margaret Brown, did she go by Maggie?
To some people, to us, we just called her Mag.
Okay. She have a lot of siblings?
Yes, she has 3 brothers and 3 sisters.
And these are your stepchildren also?
They are also, yes.
And Margaret's biological mother, she's still alive?
Yes, she is.
And where do they all live?
Her siblings and her mother all live in New Jersey.
Is that the general area of the world that Maggie comes from?
Yes.
And did you have a good relationship with Margaret?
Had a wonderful relationship. Very loving person and very funny.
How old was she in August of 2014?
52.
What'd she do for work?
At the time that she was murdered?
Well, in general, in the years leading up to, let's say, the year leading up to July of 2014.
Okay, she bred horses at times. She was breeding dogs right until the time that we lost her. And she also worked at Wawa as a cashier.
Okay. Now, in August, well, let's strike that. In terms of the raising dogs, has she been doing that for a while?
Yes, since the mid-1990s.
And she was still doing that in 2014, in August of 2014.
That's correct.
Was she married?
Yes, she was married to Gregory Brown.
And do you know how long she and Gregory Brown have been together?
Longer than my husband and I. I don't know the exact date that they first became a couple or their exact date of their marriage, but I know that they were together. I met them together the first time I met Mag.
So since you've been a part of the family, Greg Brown and Margaret Brown were together?
Yes.
And do you know how old Greg Brown was in August 2014?
Yes, he was also 52.
And did you know him very well?
Yes.
You get along well with him?
Oh, yes. He was very good at including us in his life.
And what did he do for work?
He was an electrician.
Now, in August of 2014, what was he working?
No, he was recovering from some back surgeries.
Okay.
Or surgery, I'm sorry.
Now, did Margaret and Greg have any children?
Yes, they did.
How many children?
They had 2 children together. Their son, Gregory, Aaron, we call him Aaron, and then their daughter, Megan. And then Mag had a son from a previous relationship, but he was raised and grew up in the same household with Greg and Mag.
And that's Michael Monahan?
Michael Monahan.
Now, Gregory, Aaron Brown, and Michael Monahan, where did they live, or where do they still live?
In New Jersey.
And
At this time, although Aaron and Megan and Michael also all lived at the farm.
okay. Now, Megan Brown, in August of 2014, how old was she?
27.
Now, did Megan have any children?
Yes, she had 1 son.
And do you know his name, or what his legal name was back in August of 2014?
Yeah, well, we know him as Tristan, but it was Ishmael Tristan Santisteban, I believe is the correct pronunciation.
And do you know how old was he in August of 2014?
4.
Do you know who Tristan's father is?
Yes, the defendant, Adam Matos.
In this summer of 2014, August of 2014, did Tristan have any challenges communicating?
Yes, he did.
And based on your observation, what was the nature of that?
He was very autistic and was not verbalizing very much in understandable language, except to his mother. She knew what he wanted.
Now, in the years leading up to August of 2014, where were Greg and Margaret Brown living?
Before they moved to Florida, they were living in central Pennsylvania in Lehigh County in a town called New Tripoli.
And they had a farm there?
Yes, they did.
When did they move to Pasco County, Florida?
They actually physically left the farm on or about June 30th, and then they arrived in Hudson, this is of 2014, and then they arrived in Hudson, I think it was July 2nd, 2014.
And do you know what circumstances brought them to move to Florida?
Yes. Mag wanted to spend the rest of her father's life with him here in Florida so she could take care of him, and she wanted to take care of me when I got older too, and that's the reason she moved here.
And where were you and your husband living in the summer 2014?
In Palm Coast, Florida, just north of Daytona Beach.
What brought about Margaret moving to Pasco County?
Wawa was just beginning to expand in Florida, and they didn't have any Wawas near Palm Coast where we were living or in Key West where we were heading to live. But there was one here, I believe, that she could do a lateral transfer and keep the health insurance that her family needed. I believe she also had a place that she could rent here that would allow her to have her dogs.
And do you know the address that they moved to?
7719 Hatteras Drive.
Now, when they moved, you indicate they moved end of June, very beginning of July 2014. Did your husband, Jim Thomas, go and assist them in the moving in process?
Yes, he did. He called me and told, and he had arrived at their house within about 2 hours of their arrival. I don't know which one of them arrived first.
And you were not there for that?
No, I was not.
Did you subsequently go meet your husband and the family at 7719 Hatteras Drive?
Yes, I did.
Within what kind of time period?
I got there, I remember I couldn't be there 4th of July because my dogs go crazy with the fireworks, so I stayed home with the dogs. And then I got sick on Saturday, so it was the Sunday after 4th of July, which would have been July 6th, and I arrived there about 8 in the morning on Sunday the 6th.
Okay. And did you stay with him for a day or two?
I stayed overnight, and I didn't leave until about late afternoon, maybe 5 o'clock on Monday after Mag went to work at Wawa.
Now, who moved into that house at 7719 Hatteras Drive?
Mag and Greg, and then Megan with her son Tristan, and the defendant Adam Matos.
Do you know what vehicles they had
I do.
when they came down?
I do.
Vehicles?
They had a large motorhome, and they had some kind of GMC small SUV that I understood to be Megan's, and they had a silver minivan. I believe it was a Dodge Caravan.
And whose vehicle was a silver minivan?
Mag's and Greg's.
Did they bring any pets with them?
Yes, she had some adult dogs with her, a couple of schnauzers and a couple of poodles, and then she had some poodle puppies. And I think that's the extent of what she had at that moment in time, but shortly thereafter the population increased, and there were some Yorkie poos, I believe they were.
Okay, so is your understanding that there was a new litter of pups after they moved in?
Yes.
Prior to all of this happening?
My recollection is that they actually, may have been 2 litters actually. There was one at the beginning of July, and then when they were visiting us at the end of July, she was checking in to see if one other female had whelped her pups. So how many there were, I lost count.
More than 10?
Yes, I think so.
And these, you listed some of the types of dogs, and I'm very unfamiliar with dogs. So are these all big dogs? Are they all small dogs? What kind of dogs are these?
Small. She was in small at that point in time. We had worked with a larger breed, Welsh Springer Spaniels, together at one time, but then she downsized, and I've been downsizing.
And these were Margaret's dogs?
Well, Megan was very active involved, but they were Margaret's dogs, but it was a family thing. Everybody was involved with taking care of them. Everybody meaning Megan and Greg and Margaret, Meg.
As far as your observations go and your knowledge of the family, the defendant Adam Matos, he didn't have any involvement in the dogs.
I saw no involvement at all while I was there.
When they moved into 7719 Hatteras Drive, did they bring their own furniture?
Yes, they did.
And was this furniture you were familiar with?
Yes, I had seen the furniture at the farm in Pennsylvania.
And did that include a TV?
It did.
And was that TV in the entertainment center in the living room?
Yes, if you could call it that. The one wall was the entertainment center where they had the big screen TV.
Okay. And that TV, whose TV was that?
Mag and Greg's.
Now, when you were staying there, did you learn who lived in what room?
I did.
Who lived in what room in that house?
All right, there was a master bedroom suite. If you're looking at the front of the house, it was to the back left side. I'm not sure direction-wise. I think that might have been northwest. I probably should hesitate on the directions because I'm not sure. And all the living area for the bedrooms and the kitchen and living room were up on the second floor, and you got there by going up a large front center stairway, or you went on an inside stairway from the garage area. So the front bedroom, in the front corner bedroom, that was Megan's room.
Okay, and that's, if we're looking, actually, if we're looking at the residence, and I'll strike that, I may have you point out on a photo shortly.
Okay.
But master bedroom suite, that was, I'm sorry, whose?
Mag and Greg, that was their suite.
Okay. And Megan, and what about Tristan? Where was he staying?
Tristan was in a small bedroom across the hall from Megan, and there was a bathroom in between the two bedrooms.
And are you aware where the defendant would stay?
Yes, I saw him staying in the room where Tristan slept. I did also see him in Megan's front room watching Tristan one time.
Okay, and while you were there, where did you sleep?
Megan let her grandfather and I sleep in her bed, and she slept on the couch.
So there was a bed in there when you were there in the summer of 2014?
A mattress on the floor.
Okay. The floors of Megan's bedroom, was that unfinished plywood?
That's my recollection, yes.
When they moved in, and the stairs, the interior stairs, was that also unfinished plywood?
They were unfinished as well, yes.
Did you observe how the defendant, Adam Matos, interacted with the family?
Very little. He stayed in the room, the dark blue room it was that Tristan slept in. He stayed in there most of the time playing video games of some sort. He did come out a couple of times, but very little.
Did Margaret and Greg appear to get along with him?
They didn't seem to not get along. I mean, there were three adults living in the house, and everybody had different things going on in their lives, but there wasn't a lot of demonstrative affection between them, like with Megan,
Okay.
their daughter.
And between the defendant and Megan Brown, how did their interaction generally appear?
Tense. It was tense. It was it was volatile.
That's fine. And you indicated, we may have covered this, but was Margaret Brown working here in Pasco County?
Yes, at the Wawa. I'm not
Okay.
sure which one it was.
Now, talked a little bit about the relationship with Margaret. How regularly did you guys have contact with Margaret?
Well, when somebody's in your heart 24/7, it's hard to keep track of exactly how many times and when you call them. But there was never any feeling that I was not in contact with her. Now, whether it was on a weekly basis or emails daily, it was just always. And so it was current and regular right up till the end.
And in terms of Margaret, her phone number, was it a 610 area code?
It was a 610, yes.
And that's from the Lehigh, Pennsylvania area?
Yes, that phone was still active at the time that she was killed.
When was the last time you had any contact or saw any indication of contact from Margaret Brown, Greg Brown, or Megan Brown?
I know that I am somebody that feels people need their space, so you try not to intrude, and they had just moved here to Florida, so I was trying to give them space, and Mag made public postings on her Facebook, so I was able to have an idea what was going on without constantly pestering them. And so I saw on...
Objection, Judge.
And the objection is?
Unresponsive.
Overruled?
On August 26th, she communicated to the whole world, including me, that she was on St. Pete Beach with her husband of...
Overruled?
On the public forum of she was with her husband of so many years, and it was a beautiful day, and she was feeling joyous and happy. And then the day after that, she made her, what I perceived as the last public posting of a campfire, that we're camping, so even though it's 90 degrees out, you need a campfire. And so she had that. And then I sent her an email on either Thursday or Friday, and because of computer problems, I haven't been able to find it again. It's a I'm sorry.
Approach? Thank you. Ms. Thomas, do you need to use the restroom or anything? You're okay? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
If anyone else needs to use the restroom, I'm going to take a 5-minute break. If not, Ms. Thompson, I'm just going to have you stand there. That way you don't talk to anybody. Okay?
Turn your recorder up.
Thank you. Whoever's idea was to use the restroom, thank you. Personally, I thank you. All right, we good? I got all the pens out. Anybody need an extra one? We're good to go? All right. State if you think we started with a question or an objection. I ruled that.
Yes, Judge.
I go ahead and restate the question so we get back on track. That's fine.
Yes, Judge. Ms. Thomas, we were talking about the last contact that you had with Margaret Brown, and you indicated that you had seen some Facebook posts, the last post being August 27, 2014 that we discussed. Now, real quick, in terms of those posts, based on your familiarity with Margaret Brown and her sense of humor and all those things, were those posts that would have been written by Margaret Brown?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. Now, following that, you were telling us about an email that you sent to Margaret Brown, and I don't recall if you got to when or the time frame.
It would either have been Thursday, August 28th, or Friday, August 29th. And my husband and I were walking in Key West, and he had a toy poodle of ours that Mag had given us. And he was carrying the toy poodle in a zebra Paris Hilton-like tote bag down Duval Street in Key West. So knowing her sense of humor, I said, Mag, what have we done to your father? And that was my last...
Stop right
You're saying non-responsive, same objection as previous?
Okay. I mean, I need to stick to, did you send her an email? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And was it an email that you would have anticipated a response?
Most definitely. She always responded to phone calls, texts, or emails almost immediately.
And at least within a couple of hours if she was otherwise occupied?
Yes, certainly.
And did you ever receive a response?
No.
And what happened on September 4th, 2014 in the morning? How did you decide to conduct yourself?
My husband and I discussed the fact that...
Well, without getting too much into things that were said, let me back up.
Okay.
By September 4th, 2014, had you attempted multiple contacts with Margaret Brown?
Yes.
And had you received any responses?
No.
And did you find that to be unusual?
Most unusual.
And did you decide to take some specific action the morning of September 4th, 2014 because of that?
Yes, I did.
And what did you do?
I made a phone call to the Pasco County Sheriff's Department and asked if they could do what I know to be called a welfare check at the 7719 Hatteras Drive address.
Okay. Couple of things to go through. Subsequent to the result of that welfare check, did you come to be in possession of Margaret's dogs?
Yes.
And not immediately, but a day or two or three later?
A day or two, yes.
Okay. Approximately how many dogs, if you remember, by that time?
Yes, it'll take me a second because I know them by name, so if you could give me 1 second. Okay, I'm not sure. I think it was about 7 at that time.
Okay. And
none of them were puppies.
okay. Were there any dogs that you were aware of that went other places, other family members?
No.
And you got them all?
At that point in time, my understanding was we had gotten them all.
All the ones that could be recovered, I guess.
Right. Oh, and there may have been 2 Yorkshire Terrier puppies, but they were of an age that they could be placed in homes. They were not dependent on them.
Okay. So were there more dogs recovered that you just did not retain? If you know.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Were there more dogs than 7 or 8 of Margaret's that you, the family, did not keep? That you put in a home, gave to someone else?
Oh, no.
Okay. Now,
One correction. There was one that we found a home for. One Yorkie poo.
okay. Now the dogs. Now, have you bred dogs in your past?
Yes, I started breeding dogs in 1995. Championship dogs.
And, at times, you sold dogs?
Yes, I did.
In fact, have you sold dogs born from the dogs that you received that were Margaret's?
Yes, I did. The 2 Yorkshire Terriers that we got from her after she died had a litter at the end of December 2014.
Okay. And these types of dogs, is $50 a dog, is that a high price, low price?
Ridiculously low.
Approximately how much do these dogs tend to go from?
Well, I sold each of the pups that we had. The rate was $800 per Yorkshire Terrier. I sometimes would negotiate the price if it was a good family, and I felt like I didn't want them not to have a pup, but it was never anything more than a reduction of maybe $100 per dog. So I sold those pups for $800 a piece.
Okay.
In December of the same year.
During the pendency of this case, have I given you an opportunity to listen to a 911 call?
Oh, yes.
And do you recognize the female voice on that 911 call?
Yes, that was Megan, my granddaughter.
I want to go over some other things that you and I have reviewed in the past. Excuse me. Trying to streamline this as much as possible. Judge, may I approach the witness?
Okay. As the defense team. May approach the witness.
Thank you, Judge. Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 14 for identification. There's an individual in the top right, and try and keep it down if you
I'm
can.
sorry.
There's an individual pictured in the top middle right wearing a white shirt and appears to be plaid shorts of some type.
Yes.
You recognize that individual?
Yes, I do. It's Gregory Brown.
And I'm showing you State's Exhibit 15 for identification. Would you agree there's only one individual pictured in this photograph?
Yes, there is just one adult male in that picture.
In a white shirt?
White shirt,
Do you,
plaid.
do you recognize that individual?
Yes, that's also Greg Brown.
Judge, I'm showing defense counsel. It's been previously marked as State Exhibit 16, 17, 18, and 19. Ms. Thomas, I'm showing you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 16. Have you seen that before?
Yes.
And do you have an opportunity to review a portion of the video that is contained on that disc?
Yes, I have.
And I'm now showing you State's Exhibit 17 for identification. Is this a still frame from a portion of that surveillance video?
It is.
And do you recognize the individual in the still frame who's wearing the red shirt, black cap, and black apron?
Yes, that's my stepdaughter, Margaret Brown.
I'm also showing you State's Exhibit 18 for identification. Have you previously had an opportunity to review that?
Yes, I have.
And again, did I give you an opportunity to review a particular clip from the video that's contained on that disc?
Yes, certainly, you did.
And I'm showing you State's Exhibit 19 for identification. Do you recognize that as a still frame of one of the clips that I had you review?
I do recognize it from that video.
And in particular, the person pictured in the still frame, again wearing a red shirt, black apron, and black hat. Do you recognize that person?
It's my stepdaughter.
Now, and you were aware that she wore a uniform to Wawa?
Yes.
Do you know what kind of shoes she would wear? Wawa?
She wore some very ugly black shoes.
identification.
All right.
Thomas, if I can turn your attention to State's Exhibits 20 and 21 for identification. Now, I believe I've given you an opportunity to review surveillance video from a surveillance video that these two exhibits are still frames of.
Yes, you
correct?
have. That's correct.
And the person, in particular in State's Exhibit 20, in the center right, who appears to be carrying something consistent with a shovel, do you recognize that individual?
That appears to be Adam Matos, the defendant.
And in State's Exhibit 21, for identification, in the bottom center left, an individual appears to be wearing like a grayish shirt. Do you recognize that individual?
It's clearly Adam Matos, the defendant.
And on the surveillance video that I allowed you to review, were you able to observe that individual moving throughout a store in multiple areas?
Yes, I did observe that.
That I just showed Defense Counsel State's Exhibits 22 and 23.
Okay.
And Ms. Brown, I'm showing you State's Exhibit 22 for identification. Have I given you an opportunity to review a portion of the surveillance video that is located on that disc?
Yes, you have.
I'm showing you State's Exhibit 23 for identification. Is this a still frame from that surveillance video?
Yes, it is.
And having had an opportunity to review the surveillance video and recognizing the still frame from it, do you recognize the individual with dark hair and apparent facial hair on the right center area of the still, who appears to be wearing some type of red shorts and a dark shirt with writing on it?
Yes, that's Adam Matos again.
Judge, I'm showing Defense Counsel State's Exhibit 24 for identification. Ms. Thomas, I'm showing you State's Exhibit 24 for identification. If you could just flip through the pages within State's Exhibit 24 briefly. And the individual that is pictured, particularly on the first page in the two photographs, who appears to be wearing the same thing that we just observed in State's Exhibit 23, reddish shorts and a dark shirt with writing on it. Do you recognize that individual?
It's clearly Adam Matos.
Judge, may I have just a second?
You may.
Ms. Thomas, we've been speaking about Adam Matos. You've identified him in a couple of exhibits, and you described seeing him interact with the family and dealing with him. Do you see him in the courtroom here today?
Yes, I do.
Could you please point him out and identify something he's wearing?
Certainly. He's sitting at the defense counsel's table. He's wearing a tannish brown sports jacket, dark pants, brown shoes, a beige or tan tie, and a similarly colored shirt.
Judge, may the record reflect the witness has indicated the defendant?
It will so reflect.
I don't have any more questions, Judge.
Okay, cross.
Smoke down. Please, the court, counsel.
You may proceed.
Good afternoon, Ms. Thomas.
Good afternoon.
You testified you are Margaret's stepmother, correct?
That's correct.
And you're Megan's step-grandmother.
Yes.
And little Tristan is your great stepson.
Step-great-grandson. Yes.
Thank you. You testified there was tension at some point between Mr. Adam Matos and Megan Brown.
Yes, I did.
Was that with regard to little Tristan?
Yes, it was.
Little Tristan is disabled, correct?
Yes, the event that there was an event that I observed that it was associated with Tristan.
His autism?
Not specifically his autism.
Okay. Now, you visited the Browns in July of 2014, correct?
That's correct.
And that was, I think you testified after July 4th because of your dogs, right?
That's correct.
But I think was it a Sunday you arrived and you left on Monday?
Yes, I arrived about 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and I left shortly after Margaret went to work at Wawa, so probably about 5 o'clock on Monday afternoon.
So you were there less than 2 days?
Yes.
You just slept there one night, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, arrived on a Sunday, left on a Monday, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. And you said Megan gave up her bed for you to sleep in her room, for you and James to sleep in her room, right?
Yes, my understanding is that he had been sleeping there prior to my getting there, too.
All right, so you wouldn't know where Adam slept before you came to town, correct?
No.
Okay. So for all you know, the southeastern bedroom was Adam and Megan's bedroom, right?
No, I know that it was not, because that was communicated to me.
Okay, so you have no personal knowledge of that, right? Other than what was communicated to you, correct?
That's correct.
And you're an attorney, correct?
Retired.
Okay. A criminal defense attorney?
Yes.
Now, you said that you were pretty close to Margaret.
Yes.
But you never knew who Adam was before you came to Florida, correct?
That's correct.
You never knew he existed.
That's correct.
You never knew he was Tristan's biological father.
That's correct.
Now, Tristan's legal name was Ishmael Santisteban, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, and that was Megan's ex-boyfriend?
I would object.
Certainly.
Ma'am, I think you said before that Gregory had back surgery,
That's my understanding.
so he had a bad back, right?
Yes, he has had a bad back even prior to the surgery, yes.
Do you know how the furniture was moved to the house when they moved down here? Would you know?
I only know what I was told. I did not observe it.
You didn't have any problems with Mr. Matos when you were down here for that weekend, that short period of time, correct? You personally?
Between him and me, or what was going on in the house?
Between you and him?
No.
And is it fair to say that you got along fine, you and Adam?
I don't think there was enough opportunity to have a kind of relationship where I could say we got along.
Okay, but when you left, he greeted you, he hugged you, and treated you as part of his family?
I do not like to take that one incident out of context of the whole weekend. He did say goodbye to me. He was very polite to me at that time and at other times. But he also scared me.
Fair to say you didn't know anything about, any details about his relationship to Megan, isn't that fair to say?
No, I'm not sure where and when I learned different details. So I did have some details.
If I could just have a moment, Charlie.
You may.
Nothing else, Judge. Thank you.
All right, any redirect?
No more questions, Judge.
All right, is she released from her subpoena?
Yes, Judge.
Defense? She released from her subpoena? She
No.
remains under subpoena? Okay. Ma'am, you are released for now, but you remain under subpoena, okay?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, State, call your next witness.
Your Honor, State would call Mike Silva.
Judge, I need Mr. Hill to replace both already.
Sure. While we find Mr. Sofa, we'll have you all approach.